Nobody is talking about sexual reassignment surgery for 5-year-olds, or 8-year-olds, or 10-year-olds, or 12-year-olds. Literally nobody is talking about that. It's okay. It's gonna be okay.
Well, you've heard it from Vaush. No one is talking about 12-year-olds getting gender reassignment surgery. But in reality, they're not just talking about it, they're doing it. A new study by the Manhattan Institute estimates between 50 and 179 girls who were 12 and a half or younger at the time of their double mastectomies. The authors also note that this is probably an undercount, as the study is based on insurance claims, and they point out how a lot of these surgeries could be paid out of pocket. I will highlight that I am slightly skeptical of this report, as it does come from a conservative source. But I think these figures are hard to embellish, and they do dovetail with other studies that don't distinguish between 18-year-olds and minors. Even the White House has had to change its tune, saying it opposes gender-affirming surgery for minors. An 18-year-old is filing a lawsuit as she was given surgery at 12 years old after just a 75-minute evaluation. But Vaush, in a strange sense, is correct. Nobody is talking about 12-year-olds getting surgeries. They're just doing it. Because talking about it might entail scrutiny and debate, and for that, it might require research, which the left just simply doesn't have when it comes to this topic. But Vaush wasn't the only one on the left who was either lying or completely misinformed. You might recognize this next person, Marcy Bowers, from the Matt Walsh documentary, What is a Woman?
The youngest patient I've done vaginoplasty on is age 16.
Do you worry that minors just don't understand enough about themselves? They're not neurologically developed enough yet to make permanent life-altering decisions?
Absolutely not.
Why have any age restrictions then? Let children smoke, drink alcohol. Why not bottom surgery? This is obvious lunacy from a person who purports to be an expert.
How common is it with surgery for someone under the age of 18 to be able to access it?
Surgery really is not done under the age of 18, except in severe cases, usually top surgery for transmasculine persons. And even that is rare. I think the estimates are something like 57 surgeries under the age of 18 were done for trans individuals.
57? That's a lot different from the 3,100 within 4 years published in the Journal of American Medical Association. And if we're to believe the Manhattan Institute survey, that could go up to 6,200. I don't know what's more disquieting. Is this a pernicious lie or a genuine ignorance from an expert with influence in this field?
Right. Well, so I'm a researcher in trans issues. I'm a trans woman myself.
Ah, another trans expert who happens to be trans. I'm sure they're also going to give us clear, accurate information.
And no one gets bottom surgery until they're adults, until they're over the age of 18.
What's the youngest patient that you've operated on?
The youngest patient I've done vaginoplasty on is age 16.
Maybe you guys should get in a room and decide your story before spewing these lies. According to Reuters, the Komodo analysis of insurance claims found 56 genital surgeries among patients ages 13 to 17. Like the other study I mentioned previously with the same methodology, this is an undercount as it doesn't include surgeries not covered by insurance.
And very few people get top surgery on trans men, so like a double mastectomy, until they're over that age.
Very few. It's only likely to be, 1,000 per year, a couple every single day, and a number that seems to be increasing all the time. But who cares? Don't think about it. Cut them up first. Figure it out later.
The WPATH files, based on what I'm just seeing here, looks like something that leaked and suggested that WPATH may have not been upholding their own standards. We keep running into basically the same problem, which is, hey, there's a problem, potentially, with the medical field here. There's a problem with how the medical field is going about handling this one thing. that doesn't mean the thing the medical field is handling is not real or is a delusion or should be mocked or treated with bigotry or exclusion. For example, there are sometimes issues with antidepressants being prescribed too quickly or ADHD medication being prescribed too quickly. That doesn't mean depression and ADHD isn't real or is somehow a delusion.
Very eloquently put by Hunter, but it's a complete straw man. People aren't arguing, at least in general, that gender dysphoria isn't a thing. The argument that's being made is that there isn't enough data and research to warrant these medical interventions, especially when we're dealing with minors. To use your analogy, it would be more like giving pills to children to cure their ADHD or depression, without having done any tests or research on those pills. The WPATH files just exposed how tenuous all the evidence really was. Hence why, according to the NHS website, puberty blockers are no longer available to children and young people because there's not enough evidence of safety and clinical effectiveness. Because in the case of ADHD and depression, medication goes through rigorous testing and research before being administered en masse. Why are they only realizing now that there's not enough evidence when they've been giving out the drugs to thousands for years? Why is it for the case of trans treatment for minors that we allow the treatment and then realize that we don't have the evidence?
They highlighted problems with the CAS review that include substandard and inconsistent use of evidence, non-evidenced claims, unethical recommendations, overt prejudice, and the intentional exclusion of service users and trans healthcare experts from the review process. So it seems as though this CAS report that the conservatives are bringing up a lot was intentionally done with bias, and it does sound like they were leaving shit out to intentionally arrive to a biased conclusion.
Based on this article that I've read 30 seconds ago that told me that they're leaving stuff out, it seems like they're leaving stuff out. But Hunter would never use biased information, would he? He's reading from a blog by Dr. Ruth Pierce, a trans woman, no coincidence. But come on guys, she's totally not an activist. Where would you get that idea from? She was an advisor on this report that wanted to replace breastfeeding with chest feeding. Thank you, Hunter, for teaching us a valuable lesson on how not to use biased sources. Oh no, guys, we missed Dr. Ruth Pierce's lecture on the right-wing fixation with reproductive capacities of children as future white women reproducing for the white nation. Oh, that would have been a good one.
And immediately stop the promotion of social affirmation, puberty blocker.
Okay, so even if we were going to talk about don't give kids life-changing, irreversible surgeries, okay, then what's wrong with social affirmation? What's wrong with the social transition? Where is the irreversible damage done to children if they want to just socially transition? That literally means that if you have a biological male little boy who wants to be a girl, that you just let him put on a dress if he wants to. Who cares? Why does anybody give a fuck?
This is emblematic of the overall attitude from the left. Why does anybody give a fuck about the children? Why can't we just do things to them? It's not like our actions have consequences. It's not like there's research to suggest that children who socially transition in early childhood were more likely to persist their feelings of gender dysphoria. But it's not like Hunter cares about research and studies. Just do things without any research. We'll worry about the psychological effects later.
And here's another quote. Quote, most of the kids are nowhere in any kind of brain space to really talk about it seriously.
For well-prepared patients, I feel the ideal time in the US is surgery the summer before their last year of high school. Okay, I also welcome appointments for the sole purpose of fact-finding. I think it would be great for your 14-year-old to hear about the surgery and what recovery is like and about hair removal if you require that. Conversations about surgery can be helpful at younger ages so that the parents and children can get their questions answered and navigate surgery and hormones as they relate to surgery. Look, even up here, you see in the leaked emails, they're saying right here, I have offered to limit the under 18 surgery to 17. There is a practical reason for this. Many of the bad outcomes are a direct result of rushing to get surgery before heading off to college/university. There are too many stressors in college that limit patients' abilities. Okay, so it sounds like they're literally saying that, like, don't rush into it. It can be a bad thing when you rush into it. They're talking about a 14-year-old learning the facts about this, not a 14-year-old actually undergoing this thing.
This is a complete fail from Hunter. You're reading from the wrong thing, Hunter. You can see the quote written below, which comes from this video.
We try to talk about it, but most of the kids are nowhere in any kind of a brain space to really talk about it in a serious way.
The point of what you're reading from Hunter is to demonstrate what's being told to patients versus what they're saying behind the scenes. They're telling parents and children considerations about surgery can be helpful at younger ages so that parents and children can get their questions answered, instead of telling them what they're really thinking, that children are too young to make these decisions that have lifelong consequences.
Those WPATH leaks, I was expecting something really spicy, and was saying that 14-year-olds don't understand it in the context of they don't understand, so that's why they can learn more, not get surgery or something.
Oh, the 14-year-olds just need to learn more. Here's Hunter downplaying what was said.
I was just going to say, it's always a good theory that you talk about fertility preservation with a 14-year-old, but I know I'm talking to a blank wall. I think when we're doing informed consent, I know that that's still a big lacuna of that we do it, we try to talk about it, but most of the kids are nowhere in any kind of a brain space to really talk about it in a serious way. That's always bothered me, but we still want the kids to be happier in the moment, right?
Now, does that sound like, as Hunter pretends, that it's just a lack of education? We just need to educate these 14-year-olds. Or is it more like what he actually said, that they can't give informed consent, that children aren't in the brain space to make these decisions for themselves?
They can learn more, not get surgery or something.
I know I'm talking to a blank wall.
Unfortunately, Hunter, it's pretty infamous that blank walls are pretty hard to educate.